Hey guys, this is just a quick video for anyone who's looking to make sewing patterns out of cardstock and they have a Vevor plotter or something similar. Um, I've opened up Sign Master here. This is a pattern for a backpack strap that I'm developing. And I'm just going to show you how to break this up into 3 different layers so that we can do a pen plot, a perf plot, and a cut plot. And we can avoid having to draw this out, cut it by hand, etc. So what I've got here are my 4 pieces. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to assign all of the drawing lines to one layer. So if I press the S key in Sign Master, I get a pop-up that shows me that I can select by color. So the first colors I'm going to select are brown. Those are my internal lines. I'm going to press OK. If I go over here to this shortcut key, I'm going to assign that to cut contour. I know that we're not going to be cutting that, but basically what that does is just make straight lines. So if I put a pen in the plotter, it's going to draw this. If we select one of the other options like perf cut or fold cut, it's going to basically make dashed lines in here that the plotter is going to cut. And we don't want that for these interior lines. We're just going to use a pen and draw them out. We're going to do the same thing with our text and with our inside shapes. Obviously, we only want to cut through on the outside black shapes. So I'm going to press S again. So why don't we actually do all the CMYKs first? So let's do magenta and then this other magenta. For some reason, again, my drawing software assigns certain spot colors different values than standard. So go over here, cut contour again. So that's all of our inside lines and all of our text. If we click off the canvas and we press S again, we're going to select 9090, and 9090 is all our default black. This is where things are going to change a little bit. We're going to go over here to our line styles, and I'm going to basically show you how to create the perf cut line style. And what that's going to do is instead of cutting through the material, it's going to lift the knife, leave little tabs, and so it'll cut, lift, and cut, and those little tabs basically keep the cardstock material on the roll until we pop it out later. If we cut all the way through, the pieces will fall out and then they could collide with the cutter head. So I'm just going to show you how to make a custom line style and which settings I use where I found to be the most effective. So if we go over to custom line styles, I'm going to make a new one. I'm going to base it off of cardboard cut, but I'm going to call this cardstock cut example 1. Press OK. In the line width, this is what the plotter is going to cut, and then the space is how much the plotter is going to lift and move over before it cuts into the next line. So what I found is 0.37, which is about 3/8 of an inch. That's a pretty decent. You can go anywhere from 0.25 or 1/4 inch up to 0.37. It just depends how many tabs you want to leave and how fast you want the plotter to run. I find this to be good where it leaves enough tabs that it holds the material in place and it runs relatively quickly. For the space, I go anywhere between 0.02 inches to 0.05. I ran one yesterday at 0.02 and some of the tabs didn't hold. So I'm actually just going to increase that distance to 0.03. And of course, we're just going to increase that distance on the space. If I press tab, you can see that it's updated here. I'm going to press the update button. And it's going to say, do you want to modify the user selected line style? Of course, you want to say yes. And then we're going to accept. Everything that's red, these are my notches, which I want to actually be cut out of the material. And I don't want them to be perforate cut, excuse me. So I'm just going to leave those as regular line styles. If we go up to our vinyl spooler, if we click off so that nothing's selected, we go up to our vinyl spooler here. You can see that we have the option to assign tools by color or separate by color. We want to assign tools by color. If we do this, then the origin for each of the 3 passes doesn't change, and we can actually input different settings into each of the layers. So the cut contour line, that's actually going to be our pen. So if you press edit here, we get the pen tool there. The pen tool has a 0 offset, which means that the cutter head doesn't move in any extra directions around the corners. It's basically going to come up to the corner and then go straight. If you're using like a swivel knife, you'll actually have to set an offset here, and that offset will depend on what knife you're using and just generically to your plotter. So I'm just going to do pen tool 0, offset 0, overcut, and press apply. Our next line, that's our perf cut. So if we edit this, you can see I've set it to drag knife 45 degree. You'll probably want to use a 60 degree knife. I just don't have one at the moment. I'm waiting for a package to come. So I know that on my plotter, I set that to 0.40 for the offset and 2 mils for the overcut. Don't have to worry about any of these other cutting options for this one. The red, that's our notches, and we want those to get completely cut out. So if we press edit, I'm actually going to change this to 60 degree, even though I don't have one, because what that's going to do is tell the plotter to stop and not cut the second color. If you leave both of the tools the same, the plotter may not stop and let you change the tool like it does with the pen. So what's going to do is it's going to cut it's going to plot out the contour for the pen. Then it's going to give me a symbol that says change the tool. I press OK, and then it's going to go to the next layer. If this is the same, so if we have drag knife 60 and drag knife, if both of these are set to drag knife 45, it may not stop. It depends. Sometimes just having different cutting settings allows the program to stop, and sometimes it doesn't. It's a little bit finicky that way. The only other option that I'm going to list here is thick sheet. And what that does is just lifts the knife up at the corners, and it just reduces any dragging. So press apply, and now this is ready to cut, and this is the order that I want to cut it in. If you did want to change the order, you can move these around by pressing the arrows, and that'll move the layers. This is the cutting order that we want. If we hit spool all, open up our spooling window, and you can see the order there is the same. So I'm going to head over to the plotter. I'm going to cut these, and I'll show you how it works.
Okay, so the plotter is all done cutting. You can see it's printed the lines, and then cut the perforated cut, and then cut out these notches. So you can, a little bit hard to do this with one hand, but basically you can just tear this out now. Well, you get the idea. I'll have to use 2 hands to get that done. So I managed to pull that out, and there you go. We do have these little tiny tabs that you can see. They don't really affect anything when I'm tracing. I could make that tab maybe slightly smaller, but it's nice that it holds into the plotter and I don't get any shifting. But yeah, no more cutting patterns by hand.